Hey everybody, Tony here, and welcome back to TTBurger Game Reviews, and I'd also like to welcome you all back to my TTBurger Mortal Kombat Series review. Now before we get started here, let's do a quick little TTBurger recap of what happened in the last part. In part 2, I took a look at Mortal Kombat Deception for the PlayStation 2, Xbox, and Nintendo GameCube, and gave it a 9.5 out of 10. I took a look at the PlayStation 2 version, and I gave it that rating because, while it's a fantastic fighting game, and it's definitely one of the best Mortal Kombat games ever made, I took some points off because of the chess combat mode and the puzzle combat mode. I just didn't really like how those modes were there, because I didn't really care for them, so I took some points off for that, but it's a fantastic fighting game overall, and I definitely recommend any fighting game fan or Mortal Kombat fan to check the game out, because it's definitely awesome. But now we're going to take a look at the final Mortal Kombat game that was released on the PlayStation 2 and Xbox and such, as the last 6th generation console gaming Mortal Kombat game that was released in 2006 and was later released on the Nintendo Wii in 2007 this summer. And the game here is Mortal Kombat Armageddon for the PlayStation 2, Xbox, and the Wii. Take a look at the PlayStation 2 version, of course. It's the only version I have. Now, going into Mortal Kombat Armageddon, I actually thought I was going to like this game because I really had a fun time with Deception, and I really thought they were going to take everything that made Mortal Kombat Deception great and put it in this game, make it even better, and thought it was going to be the best Mortal Kombat game ever made. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case here at all, because this game is very disappointing and probably one of the worst main Mortal Kombat games I've ever played. Now, I know games like Mortal Kombat Advance and Mortal Kombat 4 on the Game Boy Color and Mythology Sub-Zero and Special Forces were crap, but those were spin-off games and such. I'm talking about the main games, and this is definitely one of the worst main Mortal Kombat games I've ever played, and I'll tell you why. Getting started here, we take a look at this opening cutscene. It's narrated by some generic narrator who's not even one of the characters in the game. And it just shows the characters fighting each other, and that's basically it. Doesn't really explain why, and just I don't know why Kung Lao and Baraka are fighting, or why this person's fighting this person. Just doesn't really explain at all. Doesn't even explain what happened in Deception. It's almost like Deception didn't exist at all, because they don't even explain the events that happened, like what happened with Onaga or whatever. Even though we do know what happened, Shujinko killed Onaga in Mortal Kombat Deception to undo his mistake and such, and also just the cutscene does look nice and such, but it's just that it's not violent at all. I mean, there's no blood or anything like that. It's just that it looks like Mortal Kombat meets Dynasty Warriors. It feels like. And of course, like this pyramid mid raises at the top, and there's something glowing at the top, and it's the Fire Spawn Blaze, who was, like what everyone says, he was a background character in the Pit 2 of Mortal Kombat 2, but they evolved him into a character in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, and now he's the main boss for some reason. And just this cutscene didn't make any sense at all. Like, people are fighting people who they don't even have a rivalry with or so, or just there's characters that were killed off in Deadly Alliance but are back and alive and well, and just doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, I know it's just a cutscene, but still, like, a cutscene you're supposed to tell the story, and this doesn't really set up the game well at all. I mean, at least the other two Mortal Kombat games set up the story well. Here it's just they're fighting, and that's basically it. But like, I'll explain more about the story later on when I talk about the Conquest mode. Yes, there's a Conquest mode again in this, but I'll talk about later on. But getting back on track here, one of the things that was advertised like crazy when this game was announced was that every character from the Mortal Kombat games was going to be in this game. Basically 70 plus characters, which I'll admit is a very nice roster of characters, but the thing is, a lot of the characters have been dumbed down, and you remember how in Deadly Alliance and Deception how they had like 3 fighting stances? Well, here they only have 2. One basic stance and one weapon stance, and some of them don't even have a weapon stance at all. And just it pretty much adds to that rushed feel to it, because they had to put room on the disc, I guess, to like only give it 2 stances. One of my main complaints about these characters is that like a lot of the characters in this game look recycled from Mortal Kombat Deception. Hell, the graphics haven't even improved at all. It's basically the Mortal Kombat Deception with like an extra coat of paint. That's basically what it is. It feels more like an expansion than anything, because it has stages that are just like the stages in Deception. Like, they're basically copy and pasted. Characters from Deception have been copied and pasted with the same special moves and such. It's just basically an expansion more than a true sequel. And, well, I'll admit the graphics still look great, but just that around the time of 2006, the graphics were starting to really show its age. I mean, I do admit there are some cool things here that goes on during the gameplay, like you can break background stuff, and the stage fatality is still there, and that's pretty cool. I like that. But if there's one thing I'm going to explain about here, is the fatalities. In this game was after where you could create your own fatality, do whatever you want a fatality, and let me tell you something about this custom fatality system. This custom fatality system is very disappointing. It's basically a combo system where you press certain button combinations to keep attacking your opponent until you can't attack him anymore, and you basically just do the same thing over and over until you rip out its spine or its skull or whatever, and it's basically just a combo system. It's like what Big Al said, and I did enjoy this at first because I was thinking, whoa, I'm actually creating my own fatality. But the thing is, I got tired of it after a while because it was the same thing. All the fatalities, the custom fatalities are the same thing. Rip off a torso, rip off a spine, smash someone's face, and they're all the same. Hell, it's disappointing that trademark fatalities are not in this game. I've never played a Mortal Kombat game where Sindel doesn't have her screaming fatality, or Sonya has her kiss of death fatality, or Cabal with his hook fatality or so, or Sub-Zero ripping out a spine or freezing someone, or Frost's fatality as well. They're not in there for some reason, and it basically comes generic. I mean, I just gave up on trying to do a fatality because why was I gonna do the same thing over and over again? It got boring after a while. I mean, sure, the more button prompts you press, the better your fatality will be, and the more coins you get. Yeah, how much you get coins again, and you get coins for every time you get a flawless victory or you do a combo and such, but this game, the problem is that you get plenty of coins anyway, so it's not really a big deal, because they're used for the crypt, and boy oh boy, the crypt is just terrible this time. I mean, Big Al 2K6 said it in his review, but I'm gonna give him credit here, but the crypt is just terrible, because it basically shows what you can unlock. And not only that, most of the stuff that's locked in the crypt, you can unlock in Conquest mode and such if you find a treasure chest, which I'll talk about later on. In Mortal Kombat Armageddon here, the arcade mode goes by very, very quickly because the opponent AI for the most part is super, super easy, while other times they are overpowered from the start. The difficulty of the opponent AI is very, very unbalanced, and I don't understand why they couldn't just balance it out. I mean, it seems like they had to tone it down and make it easier for people who didn't like it being hard. I mean, sure, the blood's still there, which is awesome because yeah, it's Mortal Kombat, it's gonna have blood in it, but there wasn't much of a challenge there except for the last couple stages, which with Blaze, who's pretty much overpowered and he'll pretty much spam the same attack over and over, and unless you have a character you can use a combo with to defeat him. But still, it's I don't know why they did this. And while the opponent AI could be super easy, they can also be overpowered and spam the same attack over and over. There have been times where I was winning with a perfect, and all of a sudden they just spammed the same attack over and over, and they just ended up beating me in the end. Yeah. In this review, I'll be playing as 16 different characters, 8 females and 8 males. For the female characters, I'll be playing as Sonya Blade, Frost, Kitana, Sindel, Jade, Lee May, Ashura, and Kira. And for the 8 male characters, I'll be playing as Taven, who is the main protagonist of Mortal Kombat Armageddon, which I'll talk about when I talk about Conquest. I'll be playing as him, Raiden, Fujin, Striker, Sector, Rain, Ermac, and Cabal. Yeah, I know it's a weird cast of characters to play as, but that's just me. I will not be playing as Scorpion or Sub-Zero again because I don't care much for Scorpion or Sub-Zero, but those of you who like Scorpion or Sub-Zero, hey, more power to you. I just don't really care for them. Now, once you beat arcade mode, you're treated to an ending. And remember the endings from Deception and Deadly Alliance, how they were pretty much still images with colorful artwork and such, and have someone narrating? Well, that's not the case in this game. In this game, these endings are lazily done. It's basically your character doing a kata with that generic narrator narrating, and that's basically what it is. Hell, a lot of the endings are super, super short. A lot of them last for only 10 seconds or so. And so, you're pretty much beating the arcade mode for a lackluster ending, which you can't even view in the content mode or whatever. So you're basically, it just basically makes these endings not worth it. And hell, some of the characters have bad endings too. Gonna spoil here, Kira actually dies in her ending or so, and just why give some of these characters bad endings? I don't understand why. But I'm not Midway, so I can't say anything. I mean, I love Midway, I love Mortal Kombat, but this game was just terrible. It's just a bad way to go out for the 6th generation of gaming. But aside from the arcade mode, we have a couple other modes here. We have Mortal Kombat and Conquest. I'll talk about Mortal Kombat first. What is Mortal Kombat exactly? Well, Mortal Kombat is a Mario Kart clone. Yes, we have a racing mode in a fighting game. And Mortal Kombat is just terrible. Mortal Kombat only has 10 characters: Raiden, Sub-Zero, Scorpion, Baraka, Katana, Melina, Johnny Cage, Bo Raicho, and Cyrax. 10 characters. That's all you have, 10 characters. And only have 5 stages too. And that's basically it. And sure, you can win coins, but you get no reward for beating this mode. No extra characters, no extra courses. This mode is just stupid. Now I know I complained about chess combat and puzzle combat. At least those modes were actually somewhat fun. Here, this mode is just boring. It's just so boring. It just I could not believe that this mode was even in. This mode shouldn't have even been in this game. It shouldn't have been in there. But for some reason it was, and I don't understand why. I don't know. I mean, like, this is the mode. That's the mode I played the least. Well, now let's talk about Conquest mode. Remember how much fun Conquest mode was in Deception? Well, not here. This one is very, very generic. In this Conquest, you play as Taven, who's the son of Argus and Delia, who are an Elder God and a Sorceress. And they're pretty much he and his brother Dagon have been encased in stone to go fulfill a quest, and that's basically it. They're pretty much Taven, going around just punching people and just like beating people up, collecting treasures and items. That's basically it. It's basically a freaking beat 'em up. While you do fight people one-on-one, it's basically a beat 'em up mode, and a very bad one at that. Now, Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks, that's one of the reasons why I did not like Shaolin Monks. It was a crappy beat 'em up, and yet they're gonna put a mode like that in one of their main games. And also, you remember how Conquest mode and Deception had secret unlockables? Well, not here. A lot of the hidden items can be found in treasure chests that are pretty much visible to the naked eye, and all you gotta do is just like open them, and then there you go. And yet it makes the crypt kind of pointless because you can unlock pretty much most of the extra content, like the costumes and the extra soundtrack songs and the stages, and for like the hidden items you find, like Cabal's mask or Striker's hat or whatever it is. If you find like a certain amount of items, you can unlock stuff. Like you can unlock Taven as a playable character, or Dagon, or Meat, who is pretty much a hidden character in Mortal Kombat 4, and you can also unlock Blaze too. But the problem is that like you can pretty much use a code to unlock them, so there really no need for that. And the Conquest mode isn't really that long. You'll blow through it in like a couple hours, and then like the ending, like nothing happens and such, and you're pretty much just wasting your time. And if you miss one item, you gotta go back to the beginning. And even when you unlock all the items, you pretty much unlock a version of Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. But I already have regular Mortal Kombat 3 and Mortal Kombat Trilogy on the PS1, so I don't really need that. I don't really need that. So I'm just saying. And it's basically a very shallow package. And of course, they also have Creative Fighter, which I didn't really use because I don't really like using Creative Fighters in video games. They don't really do much for me. They don't even have any endings or so I don't really care for that. But the game was a very shallow package, like just basically not that many modes. A lot of the modes sucked. The graphics were basically copy and pasted from Deception, and yet a lot of the characters felt similar to one another. I forgot to mention there that most of them had the same throw attack and such too. And the custom fatality just really affects the game for me. And this game was really rushed out the door. And you know, I'm sorry to people who enjoy Mortal Kombat Armageddon, but this mode was just terrible. I'm sorry. And I know people do like Mortal Kombat Armageddon, but it's just that for me, it was just a waste. I just didn't really like the game at all. In fact, I barely even played it anymore because Deception and Deadly Alliance were much better. You get more stuff in it. You actually get actual fatalities, and like chess combat and puzzle combat are more fun to play, and yet the Conquest in Deception had a more likable character. Taven is an unlikable asshole. It's basically, I'm the son of Argus. You have no control over me. How dare you mess with the son of Argus? He's just a huge asshole. It's just like, spoiler alert, the main antagonist, Dagon, his brother, is also an asshole too. It's like, all the characters are assholes and such in that mode. And speaking of Conquest mode, the voice acting is also lazily done. It's basically the same male, same female character doing the voices for pretty much all the males and all the female characters, and it really shows too. Characters like Cabal, Cobra, and Sector have the same actor, and characters like Kira, Sonya Blade, and Frost have the same actors. It's like they couldn't get more actors to do the voices. I mean, you could tell it's just basically the same actor and actress over and over again. And even the one-on-one combat is not that great in this one here, because basically just keep using the same attack over and over, and that's basically it, and just blah 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 blah. And yet, there's no free roam in here either, like I said. It just, yeah, I already said it all and stuff. I mean, like, there's pretty much not much else to say. This game was a joke. It was a big joke, and just that it pretty much almost killed the Mortal Kombat series until the reboot came out. And I'm glad the reboot came out, because if this would have been the last Mortal Kombat game, it would have been bad for us Mortal Kombat fans, because to have this at the last game come out would have been awful. It is the last game in the original timeline. It doesn't really do much for me, but at least the reboot came out and was actually 10 times better. I will review the reboot someday, just not right now. So what's my final verdict here? Well, I didn't really like this game that much. I feel like this game was really rushed out the door, and it felt more like an expansion than a true sequel to Mortal Kombat Deception. Hell, I mean, like, they could have done so much more here with this, because considering how Mortal Kombat Trilogy had every character from the first 3 games, and this one had all the characters, or most of the characters from the last 3 games at the time, this game could have done a lot better and stuff. But instead we get a game that has like a shallow package with a crappy racing mode, a crappy conquest mode, a very easy arcade mode with like lackluster endings and cheap AI. This game ends up getting rushed out the door. Since it's Mortal Kombat and I like fighting, I'm going to be a little generous here. I'm going to give the game a 3.5 out of 10. I could give it a lower score, but I'm just going to do that because it's just, I feel like it's the best score to give, so yeah. And that's it for the Mortal Kombat series review. We do have Mortal Kombat 11 coming out in April of this year, so I'm definitely going to be checking out that. I may look at the reboot series when Mortal Kombat 11 comes out, because I want to review them like a trilogy or so, but we'll see what happens here, because I know there are people complaining about the game being too bloody, so hopefully it doesn't get censored at all, because if it does get censored, I'm not going to buy it. But that's pretty much all I'm going to say for this video. Thank you all for checking out my Mortal Kombat series review. Those of you who are subscribed here or just joined, feel free to subscribe, like the videos, comment, and also don't forget to join my Discord group, TTBurger Gamers United, because I would like to talk to my fans on stuff and just have a great conversation with them and get to know you all better. That's pretty much all I gotta say. This is Tony, peace and out.